Yeah, unfortunately the 12-minute clip part A, I think, has gone to the ether. I think I may have wiped over it by accident. But I definitely was recording it because I at one point went down from 12.5 minutes down to about 5 and something or other, and I noted that in the monitor sort of thing. So, I looked back over this one and tried to remember it took me ages and ages, hours to try and remember what I'd actually talked about on this one, which is different to the one on that one. So, yeah, I'm running out of sand and stuff like that, but I'm going to try and do another one for you. So I'm going to do a peat one, I think. So either that, or I just don't have enough memory on my my computer, sort of thing. Yeah, sun's going in and out, so I'm only 2 notches down, but it'll probably come out now. I mean, on the clip I started talking about this one originally and saying, you know, if these are okay, I should be able to get away with some plants in. So I tried that last night, and I've had burning off on the leaves, sort of thing. If I put it on spot colour for you, burning off on the lower leaves. So I think that means the roots have probably been burned off too. So, but it's better than it was. So, you know, it's getting better. So, do I just give it another week, or yeah? And then I've got this one here where we definitely got some blue chalk here, fellas, blue chalk. And I did have to put the extra part of newspaper cellulose. So basically that's the rule, I think it is. It's 1 part for the cement, and whatever else you put in to make the chalk, you have to have another part of newspaper cellulose for that. So the water's going blue, as you can probably see. And yeah, so, you know, just have to wait and get it, you know, let it get rained on, whether that's going to go from blue to grey over time, and that's when we'll spot a difference or something. I don't know. Could be a total waste of time, but considering this one here, which is with the aluminium, although I can get the spot colouring up for you, yeah, starting to put out new leaves from the centre there, fellas. So, and this one over here, so and these dandelions are starting to put up new leaves too. A little bit of bronzing on them, but you know, for what it is, it's not bad. Oh, and this one here, oh wow, I thought it was dying off or something, you know, but that leaf there, which I thought was also dying off, is getting some really interesting coloration on it. So, you know, if I look in there and take a, and the dandelion, it's okay, and the leaf here, you know, for something that's supposed to be so deadly to soup it's taking a long time about killing them. Put it that way. So, yeah, I think it's all a load of bollocks, fellas. So, somehow we fucked up along the way with the theory, and that's what's holding us back. We've got a fucked up theory, and until we unravel it, untangle it, yeah. So, anyway, I got myself some peat moss here. This is Brunning's brand, just in case it becomes important. Got the usual slot bucket on there, sort of thing. So I don't know if I've got enough sand. Got myself a spacer disc. Now I'll just put this down here and get the tripod. Yeah. Slightly disorganised today, as I said. I'm just crossing my fingers as I went looking for the clip in it. First of all, it said I had like a glitch with my cruiser, my SD cruiser or whatever. That was the first thing that came up. And then I went looking for the clip, and I suddenly realised this morning the clip I'm looking for, then even the number's not there. So I'm thinking, that's because it was a 12.5 minute clip sort of thing. Maybe somehow I've pressed something and added the next clip onto it, so it's now nearly 20 minutes long or something. I don't know, and therefore it's too large a size to be actually registered on the you know, onto the computer from the car, or in the computer card even. It's too big to even read, so it can register that it's on the card, sort of thing, you know. So it doesn't. So it's not even listing that it is there. So maybe we might be saved, because I mean this is the first time I've ever actually wiped my own clip, sort of thing. But anyway, so enough of that. I'll try and recreate. The other thing last night is when I planted those blue, you mean, I swear I got a bit of bluing on my fingernails on my left hand. I don't know if you can see that. I'm thinking, well, is it just cross-contamination from the copper? But I went back and looked at that clip and I think, well, I don't think I touched it with my left hand at all. But then again, just got to keep it in the back of your mind. So basically we've got our fly wire, not fly wire, well this is muslin or cheesecloth as they call it. You can use fly wire, or as I said, you can use kitchen cloth sort of thing. We can get down there over the top. I have to go up a bit, I think, fellas. Sorry about this. As I said, I'm trying to recreate what you missed this, but I can't do it with the newspaper sayers. I'm doing it with peat. So now we'll have a combo. We'll have the standard peat, which is, I've already done coir in the past, and I've got photographs and JPEGs and stuff like that on my computer, having done that 2011 I think it was, into 2012, and of course we found out, you know, coir wasn't as good as peat. They both worked, but peat was definitely superior to coir. And the idea is you can, the double flush, the idea is to do it once a day, but you can do it up to like 3 times a day, every 6 hours basically. And the idea with this, the slot in the end of the bucket is you got to let it sink down, so you basically fill it up to the top. So we almost up to the top, and then we'll fill it right up to the top with peat, and it just shrink down about 1.5 inches, which is enough to do basically a litre or just over a litre. So you put your first litre on the top, you let it drain through until there's no drips coming out the bottom. That usually takes about 20 minutes, half an hour sort of thing. So there's no drips coming out the bottom, and you can do it again. So that's the double flush. So you only get the response really when you start doing the double flush. Then you can try and doing how many flushes, and it's basically just the 2 flushes basically. But you can, you know, do it more regularly, like 3 times a day, every is it 360? No, every 8 hours, 3 8 to 24 basically. And I swear that every time you do it, you can, once it gets going, you can almost see the plants pulsing with growth. So if someone's out there with a time-lapse camera or something, you want to try that. Start off with the peat, because that's the best one so far. But what, as I said, this series over the summer is to do the peat again. I'm not doing coir because, as I said, it's not as good. And also I'm comparing that with the newspaper sayers. Can we get the same response just from the newspaper sayers? If we can, then what does it say about peat? What does it say about newspaper sayers, you know? So what's really going on? I came up with a strange notion last night that maybe it's something as simple as this, that the newspaper sayers or the cellulose in the peat, or hemicellulose, whatever form of the material is in there, it just causes nitrogen drawdown in the aerobic form, which is on the surface of the pot, and then over time, because you know what, this is 14 minutes long, this one's not going to register either, is it? So maybe I've got to, yeah, maybe that's what it is. Or you know what's going to happen, it's going to be, the computer's going to get really finicky. This one I won't be able to get access to, but the other one from yesterday is going to pop up, isn't it? So we'll be saying, ha, you did this extra one for no very good reason. Of course, who do we blame for that? Yeah, that's right, Bill Gates. Exactly. What would Jesus do? That's right, up against the wall, bang, bang, bang. It works for everything, doesn't it? Even for Bill Gates. I think most of us have been pissed off by Bill Gates over the years, you know. I mean, he's trying to buy himself a Nobel Prize now, you know, giving away fractions of his fortune sort of thing. When he gives it all away, maybe. Yeah, that's the real test, isn't it? Yeah. Would Jesus be able to give away all his fortune? Exactly, yeah, he just like that, yeah, I know. That's the difference between Bill Gates and Jesus, isn't it? Jesus, like that. No problems. Yeah. Oh, I'm going to have some cash, says Bill Gates. Well, you're not famous enough anymore to get around, you know, no one's going to buy you a free meal. Oh, I remember when my computer fucked up. Yeah, sort of thing. I think everyone has a story like that. Or what about the paperclip that pops up? Anyway, so the idea is maybe it's as simple as this. The newspaper cellulose or peat on the top, it slowly degrades, but as it does, it locks up nitrogen. Then small particles of that, a bit like nanofiber carbon charcoal particles, goes down into the pot. Of course, that part of the pot is now anaerobic, and it goes through a denitrification process, and you've just got nitrogen gas now coming off the particles. And maybe the roots of the plant just absorb the nitrogen gas that way, so it's like a nitrogen fixation, but the plant is just absorbing the gas now at the root zone. Maybe that's why you need the pulsation. It's the only way you can, one, lock it down and send it down the pot, sort of thing. So the second flush over the intervening time is when the nitrogen is fixed into the cellulose, but the first flush from the next cycle pushes it down into the pot, and of course over time that gets denitrified and it's taken up by the roots, which will explain why it's pulsing, why the plant growth is seemingly in a pulsed state. And this usually means I've got to put, when I get to this stage, it usually means I need about 3 handfuls, if that, to get it up here. So when I put the peat on, now the rule is we just want a light covering, just enough so we don't get any scouring of the soil, so we don't expose any of the sand. So we just basically capped the top of the pot, sort of thing. So that's what we want. So I'm just going to do this, and we're trying to get it as flush as we can to the top of the pot, because when it's going to sink down about an inch and a half over time from experience. So yeah, I'm just going to put this over. Now we want to spread it out. It's a little bit different to the newspaper cellulose. We want to spread it out so we cover the sand, so we don't have any exposure. We want to keep it as thin as we can to a certain extent for the experiment. So there's very little peat. So all this growth is going to come from this very little peat and presumably the sand. There's nothing else in the pot. Just this very thin bit of peat capping on the top, but half an inch basically, I suppose, just enough to cover the surface and to stop any rain scouring, so you can have a heavy rain and it still stays intact, sort of thing, and doesn't poke any holes into the surface. That's what you want basically. And we'll just put that bit in there, and I think that's about it. So I mean, you didn't think I had enough. I only used half of what I had there, and you probably thought that wasn't going to be enough. So there you go, that's how thin it is on the top. And of course it settles in, and then what you do is you just dig a hole and put your plant in eventually when it's when you've got your plant, sort of thing, and you can always cover up with a little bit just to make sure. But usually if you do it carefully, you can just pull back a bit, put your plant in and cover it back up again, and that's when it goes. But you need to settle this down, so it's going to shrink down probably about an inch and a half over time as that sand saturates with rain and stuff and it settles down, sort of thing. So that's about it for that. Just going to take the camera off the tripod, and we're going to take it all the way up here. I don't know if there's any order to do it in, fellas, but eventually when they all get saturated I'll move them about